What's up? My name's Royce and welcome to my channel where I talk about all things film and tech. And today we're talking about creating proxies in Final Cut Pro. And this is kind of a follow-up to my last video where I talked about how to import raw footage from the Nikon ZR specifically. So that's Red RAW, NRAW, and ProRes RAW. This workflow will work for any type of media or any type of camera. It's not specific to the Nikon ZR. That just so happened to be the camera that I was talking about, but this will work for everything. And if you're not familiar with what proxies are, they're pretty much just a smaller, lower resolution or more optimized version of your original clip that's a little bit easier for your computer to handle, again, if it's not the most spec'd out machine. And how you create proxy files is super easy. So right here, I have Final Cut Pro open right now. I have a couple clips here. One is a Red RAW file that I shot on my Komodo X. This one right here is actually an NRAW file that I converted to a Red RAW file. And this is a Red RAW file that I filmed on my Nikon ZR. Now on my computer, I am working off of a M4 Max, so none of these clips are really gonna give me any issue here. I can throw it on the timeline, plays just fine. And usually at this point, things still may seem smooth, but once you start adding in more clips, you start adding text and effects, that's when things start to really slow down. So you can be fooled sometimes by throwing clips on a timeline and they start playing off smooth. You think you're good to go. Then you start really getting into the nitty gritty of the edit, things change. So to create that proxy file, all I have to do is select the clip, or I could select multiple if I wanted to, right click and go down here to transcode media. And you'll see two options, create optimized media or create proxy media. We want to do create proxy media, and then you can choose the codec. You can choose ProRes proxy or H.264. Now, ProRes proxy will give you a higher resolution of the D resolution file versus the H.264. This will be just the most compressed version of it, which is completely fine for editing. But let's say you want to start getting into some light color correcting, throw a grade on there just to see what things are going to look like. H.264 is not going to cut it. You will know that you're working off of a very compressed file. Where ProRes proxy, still compressed, you can start doing some light color correction, things like that, just to kind of get an idea before you switch back to your original media. But with that, ProRes will take up some more space, so that's something to keep in mind. So if you just want the most optimized space-wise, I would go H.264. Frame size, you can choose 50%. So this clip was shot at 6K, so this will be 50% of 6K, which is 3K something. If you don't want to work with percentages, you could just go down here and be like, all right, let's keep it at 4K or 1080 HD. So for me, I'll just keep the 50%, hit OK. And we come up here and open up background tasks, we can see transcoding and analysis. Click that drop down window there. We can now see the process of our transcoded clips. Now be careful, because if you're down here and you have auto skimming on, you start doing this, or you want to play, you want to start looking at your edit, your transcoding will pause. So if you're wondering what's taking your transcoding so long while you're also still trying to edit, that's why you have to completely stop in order for this to work. Which is why it's a good practice that at the very beginning of your process of editing, you're importing your media, just knock out transcoding all your media into those proxy files. So then when it's time to edit, you're just good to go. And a way to actually speed that up is if you go up here to settings, Final Cut Pro settings, come over here to the import tab, you can set it up to where as soon as you import footage, it automatically transcodes into that proxy media, H.264, 50%, or you can do ProRes proxy. So if this is something you know you're going to be doing every single project you're working with, say you have the Nikon ZR and you're shooting R3D NE files every single time, but you know your editor probably can't handle that, this is a way to just set it up so as soon as you import, it just starts transcoding on its own. You don't have to think about it. So now these are transcoded into those proxy files. So now you're like, okay, cool. Well, how else can I tell? Other than the fact on my thing here, since I didn't transcode this, we now know it's using proxies because for this clip, it's looking for a proxy file and it can't find it. But let's say you had transcoded all your media and you don't have that giveaway. Then what you could do is go over here to the eye for inspector, click that, and look at the resolution up here for your file. It'll say proxy. And proxy files will be stored in your project library. And if you go back over to the inspector here, scroll down, we can see available media representations. We have our original media and we have our proxy. So if we go up here to our project library on the top left, we right click and then go to reveal in Finder. Right click on the library, show package contents. Then we can look for our event. We are in ZR grading. We click on this, we see we have our original media, our red files, and we have our transcoded media, proxy media. Let's see here. Here's our proxy media. And so if we were to import this clip here as its own thing into our project, even though it is a proxy, it now thinks it's a new clip, so it's saying it needs a proxy. But if we go over here to the inspector, we can now see the resolution is now half, and it's Rec. 709, codecs H.264. Now this last part's really important. Once you're done with the edit and you're ready to export, if you are working with proxy files, you want to make sure that you tell Final Cut to turn off the proxy files and go back to the original and optimize media. Otherwise, when you go to export, Final Cut will actually export the timeline with the proxy media, so you won't have the full resolution clips that you shot and worked so hard to make sure everything looks amazing. Now, the good thing is Final Cut will actually let you know when you try to export that you have the proxy files still enabled, so you don't have to worry about accidentally doing it if you forget. And you have the option, if you want to continue with the export with the proxy files. But what you want to do is hit cancel, back in the viewer, go to view, select original optimized media, then export, so you get the full resolution export of all your clips. And that's it. That's how you create proxies in Final Cut Pro. This will definitely speed up your workflow if you're working on a Mac that's having a little bit of trouble working with those larger files. And that's it for this video. Hopefully you found it helpful. If so, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if there's anything else you guys want to see, especially like Final Cut Pro related, definitely let me know. Love to answer those questions. Until next time, I'll catch y'all later.